Come on up when you're ready. Let's call this meeting to order. Committee, we're on page 11.
Is that section 34? Yes. Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and you looked very good on TV yesterday on the video. That was great. And thank y'all for having me here today. The Department of Natural Resources can be found in section 34 on y'all's house tracking sheet. We only have a few changes in our amended FY17 budget that I'd like to discuss with you today. The proposed adjustments include a budget increase of $1,228 to cover our merit system assessment for the remainder of this fiscal year. This adjustment was across all state agencies, and you'll see it spread out across several subsections. Next, our Law Enforcement Division has an adjustment of $1,749,119 to cover the cost of the 20% salary increase for frontline post officers as noted in section 34.6.1. The Law Enforcement Division also has an adjustment of $1,620,000. Of this amount, $1 million is for the purchase of 37 vehicles to replace older vehicles that meet our agency criteria for replacement. Vehicles are eligible for replacement if they are 7 years old and have 135,000 miles. The other $620 is to complete the equipment upgrades for FCC compliance for 19 of our 45 radio towers around the state. And this equipment also serves all state and local enforcement, not just DNR. Our Parks Division in section 34.7 has two proposed mid-year budget adjustments. $1,592,880 is included to construct a 1-mile trail along the Chattahoochee River in White County, which will connect Hardman Farm historic property to downtown Helen. The trail route is an old railroad bed with historical significance. It is under state ownership and will be a tremendous benefit to the Hardman Farm property and the city of Helen. Also in the Parks Division budget is a $1 million to complete funding for an ongoing project we have at Indian Springs State Park in Butts County. And last, we have the annual mid-year adjustment for the Wildlife Endowment Fund in section 34.9. $560,025 is included to reconcile actual sales of the lifetime hunting and fishing license with deposits to the Wildlife Endowment Fund. The current year baseline budget included $857,140 for lifetime license sales, but we had a great year, and total sales for FY 2016 were $1,417 and $1,417,165. So we would ask for that adjustment. And with that, I'll stop for any questions.
Any questions from the members? It's 15. Madam Chair.
Thank you for your presentation. On your wildlife resources, when you're talking about the endowment fund, for any who missed that previous meeting about that, and does it require legislation or is it an automatic? Okay, if you'll explain that too, please.
Well,
thank you.
We try to predict in the regular budget how many lifetime licenses we'll sell, and we just had a great year, so we come back this time of year for the amendment to get reimbursed for the actual license we did sell, and we had a great year. Sold more than we thought.
Thanks.
Good news. Chairman Pruitt.
I just want to say thank you to the agency. I know we've hurt y'all really bad since 2009, and over the years I've heard very little complaints, and I hope we're getting back to a point to where you feel like that we are making things at least enough in the budget for you to be able to function properly. And what do you contribute these additional licenses to? Are we just doing a better job of letting people know about the lifetime license for kids, or is it just one of those things?
We hope we're in a trend where a lot more people are hunting. So we've done a great deal of outreach to the youth. Little things like our Archery in the Schools program. We had 1,800, I think, students competing at the state tournament. We get them started out young with in the shooting sports and the archery sports, and hopefully they'll grow up and buy a license. So
Well, hopefully, the younger they are and the younger they buy them, then the more benefit we get for years to come. And so
exactly.
PR, a little PR goes a long way in this one, I think. But thank you again for the agency and what you guys do. I appreciate you.
Thank
And
you.
gals, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Representative Pruitt.
And I want to ditto that. I use your agency regularly for the budget cuts that y'all took in those lean years. And I was I was asked yesterday from a very large agency when we were going to backfill their budget cuts from 2009 and 10. And it just reminds me of how thankful I am to work with you every day.
Well,
And your folks.
I certainly appreciate that. We have great people, and especially would like to commend my Parks Department. They took probably the largest hit that year, and with about a 36% budget cut. And they are running now, I don't want to misspeak, but somewhere in the high 70s to low 80s self-sustainable on their parks. So Becky Kelly's done a tremendous job.
Representative Barr.
I too have had a new appreciation for y'all this year with the hurricane. Y'all are utility players for everyone. You plug holes all over the place. The hurricane, got to spend some time with y'all during the fires, and now y'all are down patrolling with the tornado. So just extremely grateful. The state has no idea. The average folks don't have any understanding of what y'all do. So thank you for that. Maybe just an overall understanding. You mentioned the radio tower upgrades. Are y'all in charge of those, or is that a cooperative and y'all put funds into those and everybody can you explain that a little bit just so I can understand that?
I'm going to let Terry
I'm sorry.
help me with that.
Thank you.
And I used to be in our law enforcement division. It's where I started out in DNR 32 years ago. We owned, at one time we had our own communication system, separate from the statewide system we have now. And those 45 towers were the ones we used for DNR's system. We own 8 of them. The others we lease. Most of them are a $0 or $1 lease on them. But when we did join the statewide radio system and got the funding 4 or 5 years ago now, those towers were incorporated into that system. And the upgrades are for repeaters that are FCC compliant. And we've only have 19 of them left to do. We actually got $225,000 in bond money for the current fiscal year to do the first some of them. And we had asked for the rest of the money in bond money for next year, and now we're fortunate that it got put into our mid-year budget, because we really need that communication equipment to be compliant, because as the commissioner said, it doesn't serve just DNR now, it serves the troopers, our GBI agents, and all of our local law enforcement too.
Well, Mr. Commissioner, thank you for your time. Oh, saved by the bell.
Perfect timing. Thank y'all, and thank you for your kind words. We appreciate it. I'll relay that to all my staff
Please
and
do.
employees. Thank you.
All right, next up, we have the State Administrative Hearings, Office of. They don't have anything in the amended budget, no changes.
Good afternoon.
Could be. Good afternoon. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much, and I promise our budget is significantly less complicated than DNR's budget. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you. My name is Michael Melhi. I am the Chief Judge of the Office of State Administrative Hearings. I have with me my colleagues, Judge Boudreau, who is the former Chief Judge of the Tax Tribunal, and Judge Patrick Woodard, who is one of my colleagues at OSA. The Tax Tribunal is an independent agency, but they are attached to us for administrative purposes only.
It's 12, guys. Sorry, it's
That's okay.
12.9
12.9.
on page 3.
That's correct.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
that's
cut
fine.
you off.
No, that's fine.
Go ahead.
Since you mentioned the tracking sheet, OSA only has one item on the tracking sheet, and I'm going to turn to Judge Boudreau to talk about the second item, and that's line 12.9.1 in the amount of $725. As the Commissioner mentioned, that's reflected for every agency as an adjustment in the merit system assessments. And with your permission, I will turn over to Judge Woodard to share with you some background information about our agency. If that's okay, after Judge Woodard, Judge Woodrow will discuss the government's recommendation for the tax tribunal.
Sounds
We
good.
will be happy to answer any questions at any time, Judge Woodard.
Thank you, Judge Malahy. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Patrick Woodard. I'm one of the administrative law judges at the Office of State Administrative Hearings. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. And it would probably be a good idea if I had the microphone in front of me. After spending all morning in court telling people to get their face in front of the microphone so that I can hear you, now I'm the one who's guilty of it. But again, thank you for the chance to be here today. We deeply appreciate it. And just some brief background about what we do and who we are. OSA has striven to be the most effective and cost-efficient administrative law court in the United States. We routinely hear more cases than any other central panel of any state. We have adjudicated as many as 62,000 cases per year. Our 10 full-time and 4 part-time judges have the highest average caseload in the country, approximately 5,000 cases per year per judge, and yet our cost per case is also the lowest of any administrative court in the United States, less than $100 per case. To increase our efficiency and to provide better service to the public, we have recently implemented our e-court system. When e-court becomes fully operational in April of this year, we believe it will be the finest case management system of its kind. This massive project was largely completed using the talents of our own employees, which saved taxpayers in excess of $2 million. We take our service to the people of Georgia extremely seriously. Our judges travel to all 159 counties to provide due process protection to the citizens of Georgia and businesses that operate in the state. OSA judges ensure that eligible citizens and businesses have access to state services, but we also ensure that only eligible individuals and businesses receive those state services. We adjudicated nearly 1,500 cases last year involving the fraudulent receipt of state benefits. Our conservative estimate is that the state recovered more than $2 million in fraudulent benefits paid due to our efforts. Our judges issued child support orders in 8 metro Atlanta and North Georgia counties, providing Georgia children with a timely and cost-effective method to obtain support services. We also hear cases involving the abuse and neglect of children and nursing home residents, and place individuals who commit such acts on the Central Child Abuse and Nurse Aid registries. We remove thousands of dangerous drivers from Georgia roads each year. Last year alone, we adjudicated 14,048 DUI licensing cases. Since its establishment by the General Assembly in 2012, the tax court has adjudicated several thousand tax disputes for the benefit of state treasury, taxpayers of the state, and businesses that operate here. We have done all this with minimal impact on Georgia taxpayers. We receive approximately $3 million per year in state funds. However, we collect more than $2,100,000 in fees for the state treasury in only one of the more than 500 case types that we do, and that is DUI license suspensions. We have also pushed aggressively to collect federal funds for conducting special education, public benefits, and child support cases. Our judges are experienced in handling very complex matters. We provide due process hearings for IDEA appeals, which of course is a special education program. We conduct hearings across the state in environmental protection cases and hear cases brought by Professional Licensing Board Division of the Georgia Secretary of State's office. Just to name a few. Our judges receive exceptional support from our staff attorneys, our clerks, and our case management assistants. Thank you for your time and consideration, and do you have any questions about our overall operations at OSA?
Chairman Smith.
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation. It's always great to get a refresh I want to be sure, so are you also known as administrative law judges? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
how we think of you, pretty much. So, first of all, we're just talking, so the tax tribunal is a recent creation, and just want to know, is it serving its purpose as we intended?
Vance here. Yes, good afternoon. I'm Chuck Boudreau. I'm the former chief judge for the Georgia Tax Tribunal, served for the first 2 years. Judge O'Neill is out of the country, and so
He's afraid of us, is what it is.
Judge O'Neill is a very wise man, very, very wise man. But so I'm here subbing for him. I'm also a part-time administrative law judge for OSA. I've continued to do that after leaving the tax tribunal. And I'm here to talk, really, the tax tribunal is new. We went into operation 1/1/13. It has, I think, been very, very successful. As I tell people, its greatest accomplishment is very much like the trooper who parks next to the interstate, and it's amazing how everybody behaves. The creation of the tax tribunal, just the creation itself, has, I think, done huge amounts to improve the administration of the tax system in Georgia, just because there's a cop on the beat now. And as a consequence, everybody tends to straighten up and fly right and get it done. So I think the tribunal has been very successful. Plus, we've addressed a number of very important decisions over the last few years, and Judge O'Neill continues to see important cases. Although the one thing that we've been remiss in noting, the lion's share of what the tax tribunal does is deal with just taxpayers. It's the court of sort of last resort. It's the problems resolution office for the Revenue Department, and it works very well. It works very well because just like OSA generally, the great accomplishment, I think, of the administrative law courts is they get the citizen to somebody within the government who can actually figure out their problem and do something about it. And for that reason, the vast majority of our matters get resolved very quickly in the context of our hearings. So I think the tribunal has been a huge success, and needless to say, I think it's wonderful because I was there when it started. But I do think that it's a very far-sighted move on the part of the legislature and the governor, and has really done a good service for the state. With that, should I perhaps turn to the one budget item? I mean, did I answer
I have
your question,
one
Chairman?
more question
Certainly.
related to,
Yes, ma'am.
it might not specifically be for you, but in the past, and particularly in your more regulated agencies that regulate more, I get questions of why aren't we sending administrative law judges who are specifically knowledgeable of a subject matter. For example, a conflict over water or the allocation of problems and things like that. So at one point, these agencies had their own administrative law judge, and they got rolled into your agency. And so when I hear, of course, I don't hear the good on something like this. I hear, oh, my gosh, did you just hear what happened? And so I was just bringing that up to whomever to answer. Aha, so pass the football. It's a lateral pass.
Glad to. Great question. Well, we do have actually a lot of expertise with our ALJs. We have, say, one who is a registered nurse, has maintained her license. She, of course, is a great asset for us when we do Composite State Board of Medical Examiners, the Licensing Board Division for the Nurse Board, that kind of case. Also, other types of cases that involve very serious, complicated medical issues, fantastic resource. We have other people who have been doing cases specifically for the natural resources
And EPD.
The EPD, exactly. I would not be one of those that you would send out on that one because of my background, although I've done them in the past. My expertise does not lie in that field. However, we do have several judges who are extremely experienced, extremely knowledgeable on EPD matters, know the regulations well. So hopefully what you've heard about the other cases is either not happening now or it was a one-off, a one-time thing. Because we do have, I think, a very high level of expertise in the complicated cases, especially the EPD.
Okay. I chair natural resources, so I do get questions about that, and that code section is so complicated, and so I hear sometimes they weren't knowledgeable in this particular area, and why was that person assigned, and then it got overturned, and so I hear that. But in the meantime, everybody's running around like Chicken Little. So, and I hear it from the Chicken Littles, is what I'm saying.
You will be happy to know we just appointed John Henley, who was the head of the Senior Assistant Attorney General, the head of the Environmental Protection Division.
I am very
of the
happy to
Attorney
hear that,
General's
then,
office
thank you.
As our
Yes.
newest judge, and
Okay.
he was actually sworn in just a few days ago.
So-
We are very happy to have him as one of our judges.
All right, that is great.
Yes,
Good to hear
John
that.
Henley has been the head of that division, has worked with
Okay,
DNR for
great.
and EPD
Thank
for
you.
many, many years.
Thank you.
Sure, of course.
Any other questions, committee members? Certainly. What number are you? 11? Chairman Parsons.
Yeah, you probably went over this. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the presentation. What about 12.6, the risk management? That's the big chunk of money there. How?
Different agency.
Oh, it is a different
It
agency?
is. That's to come.
Okay. Am I looking at the wrong page?
It's just the bottom, 12.9.
12.9.
They're at the bottom. It's just the
Administrative
very-
Services
Correct.
Department. Okay, well.
Administrative hearings are where we are.
I really
Is where
have
we
been
are.
awake for most of this.
We don't need that money, you can take it off. Save the taxpayers.
All right.
Okay, let's-
Well, gentlemen, thank you for your time.
There's one line left with the tax tribunal.
Okay.
The,
Yeah, let's
tracking
address
sheet,
it.
And Chuck's going to address that.
Patrick, we're gonna dance here. And it's not true that Patrick and I always try to look this much alike, but we just do. Yes, there is one line item adjustment, which is, let's see, let me make sure I've got this right. It's 12.9.2.
Correct.
Which is $133,000. Basically, if I may, the personnel for the tax tribunal consists of the chief judge, the administrator, and one half of a staff attorney who serves as the law clerk for the judge. The salaries and mandatory benefits for those personnel just by themselves total over $440,000. If you allocate any of OSA's general expense to the tribunal, which of course you should, because the tribunal uses, we use the copy machines and the space and rent and all that good stuff. It basically, the total budget for the actual operation is $490,473. The current budgeted amount is a shortfall of $357, and that's the adjustment. And if I may, quite frankly, that has been sort of a chronic issue since the tribunal was established, because there was never really an overhead allocation for the tribunal. And the only way the tribunal has been able to operate is, fortunately, that OSA, in effect, has been subsidizing the tribunal, but OSA has 2 vacancies it's about to fill, and it's not going to be able to continue to do that. So that's the need to bring the budget. It's quite frankly just bringing the budget in line with the absolute hard costs associated with that. So that's the one adjustment.
Questions or comments? Last call. Thank you,
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And I believe that's our last agency, so we will see you in the morning, members, at 8:30. In 506 CLOB. Meeting adjourned.